welcome to another episode of Let Her Finish. Something seems off.
I don't know.
Anissa look a little bit different to you guys.
Did you do something?
Why not? Nothing. I don't know. Really? No. Everything must be the same. So I think tonight's topic is quite fitting for our self-reflective and aspirational mood. Tonight's topic will be discussing basically following one's dream versus being realistic. We also have a guest tonight. She is definitely following her dreams and crushing it. We have Bianca who will be joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us. I know you were in the back there kind of listening on our conversation about following your dreams versus being realistic. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, I would definitely say, of course, follow your dreams, obvious, because that's what I'm doing right now. But at the same time, I understand that a lot of people feel like even what I'm doing now, following my dreams, is unrealistic because dance is something that is not academic, and I guess in everybody's eyes it's like go after high school, go to college, after college go get a degree, like you know. So me, after graduating from high school, choosing to like dance, even though in people's eyes like I'm considered making it now, I still feel like a lot of people think that it's unrealistic for me to just dance because they don't really understand like what it is that I really do as a professional dancer, you know.
Have you heard that often from person?
Yeah, people would be like, oh, like, so you just did Champal, like, so what's next? It's like, what do you mean, like, what's next? Like, am I going to do something else now? Or are you mean like, what do I have coming up? So but sometimes the way people ask the question is kind of like, okay, so you kind of did what you want to do now, so like, what's next? And it's kind of like, well, I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing. Like, so this is only the beginning. Yeah, but in people's eyes, I guess they don't understand. It's like, okay, like she worked with an artist, she was in a music video, like this is it. But obviously as a dancer, as artists, we understand more of what our goals are, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to know, how did this all start? You know, with you
dancing?
Yes. From, like, what age did you start dancing?
Right, so I started dancing when I was like 5 years old, and it wasn't because I was like, oh my god, so passionate about it. It was more just like my mom was very much just like putting all of us in extra activities after school. So it was dance, piano. I used to go to like the not gym, but like afternoon school gym where like my teacher from primary school who also taught gym had like a extra activity kind of thing that we would do like in the neighborhood, so I would go there. So I just had a bunch of different activities. Taekwondo, I used to do taekwondo too. Like I was swimming, shoot, you know. Very active. My mom just wanted us to like find different things that we could possibly be passionate about.
Tennis at one point?
Probably, yeah. I was doing the most, but I
you
think
didn't find your passion by then.
Right. I feel like my mom just wanted to make sure that aside from school, we could find different things that we were happy about, and one of those things could possibly become a passion, or we could possibly take seriously. But I noticed that like I was one of the only students or one of my only friends in school that had so much to do. Like everybody else would just after school go home and do homework and not have anything extra to do. But I feel like because I had so much to do, I had kind of like more options to choose from. Like what is it that I really like, or just even being good in more than one thing, because school was never really like my strongest point. So me having other things to fall back on and be like, wow, like I'm actually good at this and that and that and that. I already had an idea of like what I could really do, as opposed to like I feel like a lot of other people around me didn't really have the same experience. Like they can't really say that they've done the things that I've done or experienced the things that I've experienced, and something as simple as like after like sports, you know.
Right.
But yeah, like dancing started, you know, we kind of I mean, I was just following my sisters basically. Like they were already in dance class, and then I joined dance, and it wasn't something that I really became passionate about until I was like in my young teens. Because before that, I was in the science package. I was like, yes, I want to study science, I'm going to save the world, I love the plants, I love the animals, like this is me. I already told my mom from a really young age, I was like, Mom, I know I'm going to be poor, but I'm going to be doing what I love. I want to live in a small.
At one point, like Superman.
I told her
to be an astronaut.
I want to be an astronaut. Like everything to do with being outside in nature. Like I love everything about it. Even up to now, it's still something that I love. But I told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna live in a small little hut in the middle of the forest. I'm gonna be good taking care of the animals and the plants. Like you don't have to worry.
Activities. She's like, no.
Right.
But obviously you grew up in that environment. Like you keep mentioning your mom, so she was like, she want to say allow, but she had an environment where you're able to develop yourself in
Explore,
different
right,
areas.
right,
Do you think
right,
that was
You were
part of the-
exposed to different
part
things.
of the reason why you have
Yeah,
success in that?
definitely. Yeah, because she never really judged anything that I wanted to do. It was more like, okay, Bianca, if this is what you want, let's try it, let's go for it, and let's see what happens. So it wasn't like after school I was like, yes, dance. Like it was more like, okay, this is what you feel like you want to do. Let's go to New York together. Let's see how this works, and if you like it, let's see how far you can really take this. It wasn't like she was one of the only people that I felt like never really judged me for the decision. I feel like even in school, everybody was like, Bianca, so what college you applying for? I'm like, what college? I'm like, I'm going to dance in New York. And everybody thought it was a joke. Like my teachers weren't supportive. And
so after high school, you went straight to university?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, before I finished high school, I was still traveling to New York every summer to take like dance workshops just to get like a feel of what was out there. But yeah, like right after high school, I went straight to New York, and that was like
Where it started.
it started, yeah.
So your mom definitely harnessed that talent that you had. Had. But what about yourself? Because you kind of like swim upstream. Did you have any, whether it was fears, insecurity, or that's concern about your own thoughts about?
Of course, and that's kind of like what I was bringing up the whole science thing, because science was my passion before dance. I used to tell myself in school, I was like, even though everybody knew me as a dancer, I was always like, I know that dance is not a way of life. Like it's not something that I could pursue because I didn't think it was gonna get me anywhere. But only when I started not doing so well in the science package, I was like, my whole dream is over. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, science is my life. I had to switch to business. I was like, oh my God, I hate business. So then I realized dance was something that I was falling back on. Every time I would go to dance class, I would feel happy. I would feel like, okay, I feel good about myself. I feel something is going right. And then that's when it really became a passion. But of course, I had my doubts because pretty much everybody around me kind of had the doubts too. It was like, we know Bianca was dancing in high school, but she really tried to take this thing seriously. I want to tell you, it was a joke. Like, I would never forget. One of my teachers told me, if I was your parent, I would never allow you to make that decision.
Wow.
She said, you have to go to college first and then make that choice. But I'm like, well, that's, like, at that time, I was like, damn. But now I realize that's why that teacher wasn't my parent, because it wasn't his decision for me. I have the specific parents that I had, and they allowed me to make this step. And now people looking at me and it's like, wow, like she actually really did it. But if I had a parent like that, I never believed I could have done it. Maybe I would have gone to college, or been failing in college, or would have not known what I wanted to do. I would have come back, and I just wouldn't have been happy, you know. But my parents allowed me to just explore, because they realized now is the time for dance. Like, I can't go dancing. I could dance after college, but it's like you have to be young. You have to know that you want it and go for it now, or else it's just no other time, you know.
I think that was quite a traditional view, like
Very
that they
traditional,
would
yeah.
tell you this is the path and you have to take it this certain way. Only after you go college can you have like the power to decide that
power
you
to
really
decide,
want to do
right.
it, which I think is
But that's how they had to.
That's how they had it, yeah.
Some of them couldn't even. We think back generations. They didn't even have the opportunity to go to school because they had to quit.
And that's
always
why,
putting me in my
yes.
place.
Excuse me.
It's always putting me in my place. Yes, you gotta think of it of perspective, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I get what you mean. Yeah. It is. We have the opportunity to think beyond that sort of traditional path that we were taught to take.
To do things a certain
I
way.
also think that our system on the island doesn't foster creativity. So like, you always hear, we need doctors, we need lawyers, and I'm always a big advocate that to have a balanced society, you need artists, you need dancers, you need creative people, you need musicians. So the more that we place our kids in like a box, you don't, you kind of reject them from our society, and then how do we foster all these other talents that we have to create a balanced society? And I feel like our education system should be a little bit more wider,
Broad,
Of course.
foster people like her, because she went
everybody's
through
academic.
she went through a hassle trying to create an independency for us, like as in to stop school and do online schooling, and then have to struggle with the education system here to understand.
Do they even finance the arts? For example, if you wanted to go to a dance school.
I mean, they gave me a scholarship to go. They gave me a scholarship to go to Broadway Dance Center, which was, much like appreciated, So they were supportive of it, but just in general, the island, I feel the government and schools not supportive of it because they don't see the value in it. It's like even with this whole Casey Carty, the one who does the cricket, like when he came back, it was like the world's biggest thing, you know what I mean? But he's not the first person to ever put St. Martin out there or represent for St. Martin on TV or whatever, or wherever he was represented, But he was the first person, at least in my eyes, that I've seen be such a big thing on the island. I was like, well, what happened to all the people like before him? Like, why isn't Nicole the Weaver being as celebrated as him? Or like everybody else that's been doing things to put St. Martin on the map, because he's in a sport that's on TV. Cricket is like a big thing, but it's like, what about Bianca in a Sean Paul music video? Nobody is saying nothing about it. You know what I mean? Isn't it just as big in a different way? Like, why is the arts less valued than sports and academics? Because sports is still above the arts, and dance is a sport. And I always tell people that, because it's like, I have to take care of my body, I have to train, I have to take classes, I always have to grow as an artist. There's always somebody that's going to be better than you. It's not because I was born that way, I had to work for it. So it's something that just like athletes, they have to wake up and stretch their bodies and work out and do abs and stuff. We have to do the same thing. I got to work out my abs, I got to work out my arms, I have to stretch, I have to continue growing,
But on that point, sorry, but do you consider it luck? Because a lot of people say, oh, maybe she was just lucky, she got at the right place. I feel like people don't understand the hard work that people put into being an artist.
Of course.
Mentally, what does it do to you?
Right.
What's the mental strength that you need to pursue that?
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't say it's luck. I now looking back and realizing all the information that I was gaining to like brand myself as an artist, I realized I was branding myself the whole time, but I just didn't realize it. And branding yourself as an artist or in any industry that you're in is very important. So I wouldn't say that it was luck. I know that I'm not the world's best dancer, but I created something that was unique with the red hair, coming from the Caribbean, just being a different look and being a different person in the middle of New York City. Like, I created my own lane that just happened to open these opportunities for me. So that's also something that I'm starting to realize that I want to like share with other people, other artists especially. I want, like, you could be as talented as you want, you could work as hard as you want, but you need to have that it factor. You need to be able to brand yourself and be a business. And I realized the whole time, like going through the years of being in New York, going on my 4th year now, I was building myself as a brand and a business without even realizing it. So it was definitely not luck. It was more like I wasn't purposely branding myself or being a business, but looking back on it now, I was like, wow, I was really doing a good job. Like,
you are known for your red hair.
Yeah.
I think that was like the best thing that you
Now
did.
you know why you did the business package.
Well, listen, but let me tell you, that business package, I love that teacher so much because we was doing everything besides business. We was watching like documentaries, like what the health, like all about food and like the food industry and stuff. So he was like, I was like, wow, this is business, it's not so bad. But now I look back, I was like, okay, that was
So I want to ask you about your experience in Japan. So you went to Japan, that was pretty cool. And just tell us, how did you get there? And
okay, well, the funny thing,
like it?
yes, I love Japan. I consider it like my second home, and people always say like, wow, like that's a really big thing for you to say, considering that it's like, all the way on the other side of the world. But it's just like the love that I got out there, the love that I received from those people, even aside from dancing for those Japanese pop artists, like just the culture, how loving and open people are, just like accepting you, like it changed me as a person completely. Like when I left Japan, I was like, wow, like I could be, like it made me feel like I could just not judge anybody, just be open and friendly to everybody. Like the culture was so together, so one, like as one, moving together as one. I was like, it changed my whole perspective on life.
how long did you stay there?
I was there for 4 months, and basically, yes, I was on tour with J Soul Brothers, which are like, I guess I would say equivalent to like a Beyonce or Chris Brown, but of course they're like on that side of the world, so nobody even knows what was going on. And the funny part about that is people still up to now ask me like, what you was really doing, because they are so like business minded that if you don't buy a DVD, if you don't pay to go watch a show, you will not see one picture, you will not see one video, you will not know what was going on in a concert. So that's why, you're right. If you go on my Instagram, all you're gonna see is pictures with me and the girls that I was on tour with, but you would never see pictures of us on stage. You never see no videos of us on stage, because they are just so like, if you wasn't there, you can't hashtag Beyonce world formation tour and look at all the videos and decide if you want to go to the tour. It's like you
gotta go.
You have to go
So when
to
they
know.
banned the phones,
No phones. And because Japanese are so respectful as a culture and they love the artists so much, no phones means no phones. Nobody
And they did
has
it willingly.
phones.
They were like,
Willingly, nobody had phones.
Wow.
Right.
So how did you hear you were getting that gig, or like how did it go? Like
Right,
the
so-
process of that.
My agent, which usually everything goes through my agent, she sent me the audition and she was like, okay, tomorrow there's an audition. Usually they're not very specific as to what is happening, what any project is for. It's like, just dress hip hop, be yourself, be cool, whatever. It's like, okay, great. Another audition and not sweating, you know, I'm just like, whatever. So I get there the next day and it was specifically for my agency. So they had about like 40 girls. It was only for girls. And so I was like super comfortable. I knew pretty much everybody. I was like, hey, like ready for another audition. Just a regular day, you know. Come to find out later that every other agency in New York also had an audition for their girls, and there was also an audition in LA. So and meanwhile I was thinking it was a small audition, only 40 girls. Like they already knew what they was looking for. Come to find out it was like 200 other people in LA who also auditioned. It ended up being only me and another girl from New York that got chosen, and then the 5 other girls got chosen from LA.
Oh, wow.
So when I found out, I was like, wow, like
That is amazing.
in that audition I felt right.
Talent.
Right.
Prepared for
But in that I wasn't like, in the audition I was so like, oh my god, I should just give up. Like I was so not in it.
When did you find out about the scope of the project? After you auditioned or before?
Not even when I got there. When I got to Japan, like, cause I found out that I got the opportunity to go to Japan, like I think like 3 weeks after, and I was like, Mom, like I'm going to Japan. She was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, this is actually happening. And only when I got to Japan, like the scale, like is nothing that you guys have ever seen, and we don't see it because they're not advertising to the rest of the world. What's for Japan is for Japan. But let me tell you, when I got there,
How big was the
that
crowd?
stage, 50,000 people every night, and we had about like 30 or 40 shows.
Wow.
So by the end of everything, plus they also aired the live version in the movie theaters. So by the end of the whole tour, I performed for over like 2 million people.
Wow.
But that stage, like first level, stairs, second level, 2 stages on the right, on the left, huge screens. Like I never saw anything like that in my life, and I was just like, am I really doing this right now? Like this is bigger than Beyonce. This is bigger than Jay-Z. This is bigger than the stages that you see on a regular, like bigger than any award show you ever seen. I'm just like,
Because you
And
had
they
mentioned
crazy with
that some of your dancers, like, she had mentioned.
Yeah.
I said some of her, the girls that she danced with, they danced for like Beyonce and Drake, and even those girls
Were
like,
impressed.
Were impressed
even
at the
those
scale
girls,
of-
they was like,
yeah.
Bianca, don't get used to this,
Put it in
cause
comparison.
Yeah.
right.
Can you imagine like a Beyonce dancer telling you, oh, you know,
Don't worry.
Beyonce out of all
To
people.
me, like that's my max.
The top,
Like,
right.
I don't understand what's
What could
above
be-
me.
right.
Like that's like infinity.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend. What sounds huge.
So for an aspiring artist, dancer, whoever, what are some of the steps that they could take? They should take heed from now to be able to prepare themselves. Because you say you kind of just like follow your dreams and realize you just build this whole list of things
Right.
and prepare yourself. But what are some of the things that they should be doing and looking out for?
Right. And like now looking back on it, I kind of wish I had somebody to like guide me a little more. But of course, coming from an island where not many dancers already. Yes, we did the workshops, we traveled this place, that place, tried to make it happen, but there was nobody who I could really follow besides Nicole the Weaver, who already paved the way. But I couldn't even really follow her because her path was completely different. She was going Broadway, I was going commercial, and she's like, at least she's like a lot older than I am. So what worked for her at that time probably couldn't work for me now, you know? So I was kind of just paving my own way and trying to figure out what worked. But now I realize one thing I really want to stress for artists on the island, or artists in general: branding yourself, making yourself a business, and finding, again, that it factor, and also using social media to your advantage. social media now is like the number one thing. Like I can't even stress. Like you could not have talent now and still make it because you just have something about you that's just so funny. Like people could hate you, people could think that you're ugly, but you could literally brand. You could market yourself as anything you want nowadays. You could be the ugliest person in the world, make millions of dollars. You could have no talent, make millions of dollars. You could have the worst voice ever, make millions of dollars. Why? Because social media is like focusing on whatever draws in attention. So attention can be good or bad, but having the attention is that important thing. So I would say really and truly, first you have to find what is it that's unique about you. Don't ever follow somebody else, or else people are going to look at your page, look at your profile and be like, okay, well, she's kind of reminding me of this person that I already know. So if when you find that thing that's like unique and special, then you could brand it, and then people see you and they're like, wow, like I never really seen this before. Like her style is different, the way she's dancing is different, the way that she looks is different. So I would just say definitely becoming very business savvy, finding how you could sell yourself as a product. Sounds wrong, but you understand what I'm saying. How can you sell yourself as a product? Yes.
Yourself, you know, and as a service or whatever.
As a service.
Not really as a service, but you know what I mean? Not a service.
Right. And especially for artists, because our work is so individualized. It's like you could like make like head wraps. She could make like glasses. You could be like a painter. So we don't have like a textbook to be like, this is what you do, and then this is what you do. It's like you need to find out the steps that you want to take and the route that you want to go with your work to end up where you want to be. So social media could also be something that a lot of people don't want to take because that's not the route that they're going for, you know. They could want to reach out to one company because they only want to work for that specific company. So you work towards how could my art be something new for this company that I eventually want to work for, you know. So it's just knowing, like, you have to know not exactly what you want, but you have to see at least where you want to end up, and then start taking those steps to get to that point, you know.
Tell us what social media has done for you, especially the most recent social media.
Right. So
And then I want to hear about your experience on the video shoot with the video with Sean Paul.
So social media, I can't stress it enough. Like,
tell us about how the universe aligned. Tell us about how the universe aligned.
Let her.
Being sorry, I'm excited.
Wait, who makes it?
Wait. Yeah.
Can I really talk about that though? Okay, let me see. So social media though, like even though it's great to have an agent, and it is very important to have an agent because they are the people at the end of the day that those big companies trust to hire professional dancers and send them professional dancers. But I have to say that this year has been an amazing year for me, and it was due to how I was marketing myself on social media without even really realizing it. So okay, yes, me being a redhead from the Caribbean, just exploring different styles. I was always posting my videos on social media. Like I'm not, even though I know like, okay, that could have been a little perfect. Like maybe I messed up on that part. Like I'm not very particular with being like a perfectionist with my videos because I understand that is a process. You know, I'm never going to be perfect. I'm never going to be like that person or this person. But for me, I'm not very insecure when it comes to posting. So I always post my pictures, I always post my videos. And this year has been an amazing year. And most of the jobs that I booked this year had nothing to do with my agents. Oh, wow. From dancing on BET with Hood Celebrity, from Sean Paul music video, everything was through my Instagram, which might be unheard of a few years ago, but now we have this to our advantage. And those are pretty big jobs to say so it came through my Instagram. Yes, like
right. Did they book you one time, or is it like you have to go through?
Well, it's also true making. Could you imagine? I mean, it's also true making connections. You know, like the community that I happen to be a part of this year, the Afrobeats and the dance hall, is something that I so recently became passionate about, and because it was something new for me and I was so passionate about it, I just ended up making relationships that were very genuine, and before you know it, like I was the first thing I got hit up for in the beginning of the year was Hood Celebrity for Summer Jam. And I was like, wow, like this just happened by me just exploring a new style and meeting people who I consider like actual friends, you know. And the next thing you know, Hood Celebrity is like, hey, going on for BET experience, like you guys should come. And then next thing you know, we in LA. But it was so like organic, you know. It wasn't like I had to force myself into like meeting particular people or getting in with the right crowd. It was like I just happened to find something else that I was passionate about within dance, and it helped me make those connections with the right people that just kept putting me on and on and on and on. And I was like, wow, like, and then even down to Sean Paul, like, it was crazy because 2 weeks before this whole thing happened, like, I saw this creative director / choreographer that I really love, and I was telling one of my friends, I was like, I really want to work with her, and I had the opportunity to speak to her, but before you know it, she disappeared, and I was like, I didn't get to talk to her. Like, I just wanted to let her know that I really love her work, and I want to work with her one day. And then next thing you know, 2 weeks later, she hits me up and she's like, hey, are you in New York? Like, I'm working with one of Sean Paul's artists for a new music video coming out. Like, I want to know if you would be willing to be a part of it. And this is something that doesn't usually happen because usually she's also with the same agency that I'm with. So they usually go through the agent to contact you to find out if you're available. But she hit me up directly, and I was like, I was just talking about her 2 weeks ago. How the heck did this happen? So even that was like, the universe is like, come on, things start like, right. And so she hit me up, and I was not in New York at that time. I was in LA, and I was planning to be in LA for the rest of the month. But she was like, are you in New York? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be there tomorrow. So I called my older sister on the phone right away. I was like, Martha, can you find me the cheapest tickets you can to fly me back to New York tomorrow? Because I was like, she is one of the top people that pretty much any dancer would want to work with, because she's working with all your favorite artists. So for her to hit me up personally on Instagram, and she was like, I've been looking at your work for a long time and I really think you're dope. And I was like, me? You know, like, I was just like, whoa. You know, because we work so hard for what we want, but it's like when it actually happens, it's like, really? You know, like, you still get so shocked. So I was so shocked when she hit me up, and I flew to New York. And I was working with Sean Paul's artist, Cha-Ching Ching. Cha-Ching Ching, I know it's the funniest thing ever. But you know.
Crazy because I feel kind of like out of it. I have no.
Yeah. But he's an up-and-coming artist from Jamaica. He does dance hall. He's really, I guess Sean Paul believing in him enough to sign him. So she hit me up to work with him, and Sean Paul happened to be on set. And he was like, who's this girl or whatever? I introduced myself to him. I told him where I was from. He was like, ex-Caribbean, yay. You know, and then I guess him seeing me on set that day, he told the choreographer, he was like, I want her to be in my music video. And then she hit me up. She was like, are you available for Sean Paul's music video at the end of the month in LA? And I was like, yeah, that works out perfectly because I'm actually going to be in LA. And it's just the fact that Sean Paul also asked for me, you know, like, it was like 7 or 8 of us girls on set, but like, he was like, I really like her, like, can we get her on set? And then next thing you know, I'm in LA and I'm on set, and I'm like, yo, this is Sean Paul. Like, I remember, like, Anissa, like, you know, back in the day when I used to have my birthday parties in primary school, like, she used to be choreographing for us, and I used to be like, guys, let's make up a dance, and let's battle the guys to some Sean Paul music. Like, he was always one of my favorites, so I was like, it was one of the top goals I had.
I want to see it.
Yeah, I hope we have old videos, right?
Here we also got dancehall queen here on this set.
Okay, I didn't know that, really? Like dancehall queen, like,
Yo, she
like
was
head tops, like head tops and stuff.
That was on
No
YouTube.
head. See how everybody got their own thing. I'm definitely not a head top.
YouTuber.
Okay.
No.
What your name is? Dancehall queen what?
There's no Anyway,
I was like, head tops? Yeah, I mean, so I was saying, like, in my journal, it was one of my top goals, and I realized the older I get, how important it is for me to, like, represent in the world with another Caribbean artist or even an African artist. So that was like one of the top goals I had. I wanted to, award show was also one of the top things I had on my journal, and it almost ended up happening. I almost actually ended up dancing for Cardi B for the AMAs, but that didn't end up happening. But so I ended up doing BET Experience, which is like the lead up to BET Awards. So I'm like, you know what? It almost happened, and it was kind of like a sign to show you, Bianca, like, people are seeing you, you're doing your thing, you're on the right path. Next year is going to be like the year.
And so I don't really believe in coincidences where that's concerned. So all it seemed like your community lined up ready for you. You yourself, like, what were you telling yourself? Because you know there are so much people out there that keep doubting themselves or whatever. What did you tell yourself? Because I believe all of these things align. And Oprah says luck is preparation means opportunity. So like, what did you like tell yourself?
It's funny because I was so like when I was in Japan at the time, when I started to see like Afrobeats and dancehall really becoming a big thing back in New York, and watching the videos, I was like, I want to be back in New York. Like, this is where I want to be. Like, I'm looking at these videos, I'm like, I felt such a connection to it. I was like, yo, I can't wait to go back to New York and start taking these classes. Like, I just felt so connected to it, and I was so happy to see the Afrobeats community and also the dancehall community like rising up, because the Africa, first of all, is like so, what a word is. It's just so like people have such a backwards perspective on Africa, and then people don't even know nothing about the Caribbean. It's like when they hear you talk, they only think about Jamaica. So I was like, wow, like look at like the minorities like rising up, you know. So when I went back to New York, I was so excited to start the year and start like taking this new style. And before you know it, like I was just so accepted by the community because I was like from, not only because I was from the Caribbean, you know, but I was just so in love with the style.
Absolutely.
And
is one of the most beautiful styles.
I love it. Love it. And it's funny because my friends growing up in dance class, they would look at me like they were looking at me now doing the style that I'm doing. They would never believe it because I was hip hop queen. I was nothing but, yes, I did jazz and ballet, but hip hop was my like thing. I was like all about the hip hop, which you can see like I'm very influenced by hip hop. But this year, me taking dancehall, everybody's like, I never thought I would see the day Bianca would be dancing like that, you know. But it's something I'm so passionate about, and I think just my excitement to go back to New York and indulge myself in the style. I don't even think I realized what I was really getting into, you know. So it wasn't like I had a clear vision of what I was going to do with it, how I was going to market myself with it, you know. But that's why I say looking back on it is now I realized I was marketing myself without realizing. But it was just the feelings I had for it. It was like everything that happened this year had to happen because I was so in it. I was so in love with it, and it was, you know, after spending so much months in Japan doing the same thing over and over, like I was so happy that my dream came true. But I was like, okay, you know what? It's coming to an end. It's the end of the year. It needs to come to an end, and now I'm ready for something new, you know. Honestly, all very cultural artists like Daddy Yankee, he's an OG. I have to dance for him somewhere, somehow, or some Latin artists because I love reggaeton. I just love that culture. Like growing up, Anissa was also very into that music. So I think her playing that music, like I'm so into that music. I love that music.
Reggaeton. I want to see your moves. I want to see how reggaeton moves.
What's up,
We're gonna find out.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Even so, Latin is like number one. Caribbean, forever and always. I would love to represent with any Caribbean artist that is dedicated to representing in the world and just bringing the culture out there with them. Like, I would love to represent with any Caribbean artist. And then also African artists. But besides even that, commercial artists, like pop artists, like people look at me and they think that I'm like such a like, oh, like you're so cute, you could dance for like this pop artist. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I could do that too, you know? So I'm open to whatever 2019 has for me in terms of artists, in terms of shows. Like I just want to do what I've been seeing myself do this since I was like a little girl. I love performing with any artist on a big stage in front of huge crowds. That's just I'll settle for something else, right? Right. I'll settle for something else after I just achieve those things I want to achieve, you know. And it's not very specific because I know they say be specific with your goals and your dreams, but for me there's so many artists, there's so many things that I'm not even thinking that I could do, that I know that when I meet other people they want to put those visions in my mind and be like, Bianca, you should do this, and I'll be like, I'll start thinking about that, you know. So I don't want to put myself in a box. I just know that 2019 is just going to be...
You had to tell us about your jacket. You said it's from Japan and you had an interesting story.
Well, it's not really that interesting, but...
Because it's nice.
Like, it's super cool. It's super cool. I love it because it's one of a kind. And that's one thing about Japanese. Also, they're so unique with their style. Like, they also very embrace hip-hop culture, but they take it to another level. So when I found this store, every single jacket is completely unique. So this is one of a kind. Like you see, like you could tell, like this is from like football. Like this is like, okay, whatever, you know, Bloods. But you know, like they just they just get.
In the comment section.
Whatever. But it's like they take like all different materials from different clothing and stuff. and it's one of a kind. So when I saw it, I was like, yo, that. And I love colorful. I have a thing for jackets, first of all. So when I saw this jacket, I was like, hell yeah!
I live in New York.
Can I tell them an embarrassing story? I remember we danced in Maho, and Bianca was like 6 years old, and she was dancing on stage, and the lights were on, and she this was like this. I think it was meant to be. So she was on stage. They were in a little line, all the 6-year-olds. And Susha, if anybody knows Susha from Motions back in the day, dance theater now. Well, my little sister bust a fall on stage. And she started crying. We were just like, Lord. Did you leave? Did you go off stage?
No, see, it was already the end of the dance. I think I had to do a cartwheel and I ended up falling. Okay. I didn't even fall that bad, you know, but I was thinking the world was watching me. And I ended up in the line. I had to do this little thing like this, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Oh my God.
That's a funny story I was thinking about.
You mean,
Ended on that note, thank you very much. I think we had a lot of fun picking at your career, and I think it's super motivating, and we can see the determination from you. I think we mentioned that it wasn't luck. I think when it comes to your career, we can see how much hard work you put into it, and hopefully it inspires like local talent here to put an idea in their head that it's not
they can do it.
It's not a box. The career path doesn't have to be as boxed as you think it is. So thanks so much for joining us.
And everywhere I go, I always represent for St. Martin. Everybody knows where I'm from. I talk just like this in New York, and I have a lot of friends who also from the island who, when they went out there, they was trying to yank and stuff. I'm like, guys, I want everybody to know where I'm from because everywhere I go, St. Martin is coming with me, and I just want everybody to know that whatever you choose to do,
be true.
Be your number one supporter, first of all. People are going to tell you, you can't do it. Don't listen to them. If you have that vision and you're so passionate about it, go after it, and you never know what can happen. But don't just settle for what your parents got to say, for what anybody have to say. Just, wait, my hair looking crazy like that for real? Are you? My hair was looking crazy like that?
No.
I just saw my reflection there. That's why. Sorry. Well, that was a good speech, but yes, you can do it. Like if you're passionate about something, honestly, go for it. The world is yours. Don't let anybody put you into a box. Like I should be living proof that it can happen. And if you're passionate, like let it happen. Don't wait until you turn 50 years old and you're like, what would have happened if I had just tried?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
I'd rather try and fail than to reach the end of my life and be like, what would have happened if I just went after that one thing that I so loved and I was so passionate about? And I would never get over that speech because I'm just like, I don't want to live with any regrets, Even if I don't end up reaching like my top goals or whatever, it's like I'd rather be happy now and know that I tried something and I achieved some things than to look back and be like, I listened to that one person that told me that I couldn't do it, and now I'm here like, damn, like I feel like a little part of me is like just broken because I didn't do it. I want to live like a full life and be like, wow, I really did that.
That's right.
Yes.